Maxing out a character in ZZ really isn't worth it. And I mean this more so within the concept of fully investing into the skills. I want to wholeheartedly declare that I believe in miHoYo meta. If you love a character, whether it's Nekomata, Chinyi, Lucy, Koleda, Soukaku, Seth, it doesn't matter. Even if it's Piper and Korin. No matter what role they are and what they do or how good they are, if you like a character, go ahead and invest into them. Max them out even. If they are a banner character, then you can wait on a rerun and get their C6. But maxing out a character's skills are so incredibly expensive, even these E and F level core skill enhancements are unreasonably expensive. You need 30 of these elite mob drops, and considering you can't line them up in a row to farm multiple at a time, like you can with something like basic materials such as Denny or experience for your engine or experience for your character, it takes a lot of time too. And this, by its nature, isn't exactly that good. Don't get me wrong. Certain things can be better, but like, let's be honest here, the buff that Lucy gets from her E and F level traits don't make this investment worthwhile. Nekomata's is only a damage percentage buff for her playstyle archetype, but it only improves by 5%. That is not enough of a buff to warrant me spending 200k Denny, which is about 100 resin, and then I don't even know how much resin it would cost in terms of the actual elite mob drops. Especially when those elite mob drops can be better spent getting the A to D traits on other characters if they utilize the same mats. So I want to clear right off the bat, if you are looking for efficiency, then maybe stopping at 10 and even 11 for certain skills is probably the best bet. Don't get me wrong, for characters like Lucy, if you really enjoy her and you really want her to focus on being the best buffer with the cheapest level investment, then in theory, you can go for her skill, i.e. her special attack, which transfers that attack bonus onwards, and then you can lower the requirement you need for attack stats. But realistically speaking, as you get constellations or cinemas on this character, you aren't going to need as much attack because the constellations that's basically subsequently improve the max skill level also decrease the amount of skill investment you need to have. If I'm looking at this, Lucy's skill is under a technicality below Nekomata's. This is simply because Lucy isn't even level 55, which is required to push up certain skills, like this one, which is basic attack level 11. This is because Lucy already has her cinemas that increase her overall level distribution, and as a result, the investment I need to make within that attack percentage trait is lower. And so I can see a case being made for you wanting to crown these characters who have buffing potential. Because, yeah, maybe that's really important to you. If a character like Chinyi, for example, is solely focused down on providing daze, and that daze is solely focused within her basic attack, then yeah, I can see a case being made for essentially improving a character's supportive capabilities. But for DPSs, I'm going to be honest, it's not really that worth it. This is following the Genshin logic, and let's be honest here, miHoYo doesn't really innovate and change much beyond their basic formula for any of their characters. At best, HSR has Super Break now, which is entirely different from other miHoYoverse games, but not enough of a difference to really make you question building out every single character for that archetype, and in this case, it's not that different. Now, Nekomata is my favorite character. I'm going to get her to 60, because I like this character. I'm going to max invest within her abilities if I can. But, strictly speaking, looking at this and saying, yeah, this is a worthwhile investment and this is a smart, efficient usage of my resin, the answer is no. But I like this character, and so she's maxed. And I'm going to do that for the rest of her skills once I get more crowns. I wholeheartedly recommend, if you are looking to make the smartest investment for your characters, I can see you going for the E-level skill for your DPSs for that crit rate or crit damage increase, and then leaving them at level 55. For your supports, you can leave them at level 50. They don't gain much, especially stun characters. Stun characters getting 6 impact really is not that valuable. So honestly, I don't think it's worthwhile at all. But that's just me. Still though, I think the bigger question is, why does miHoYoverse continuously lower the overall investment required to reach that endgame level tier of characters? In Genshin, it's 90 out of 90. It is talent levels 10, 10, 10. It is the concept of farming regional specialties, farming those ascension mats. And I understand, yeah, those can be a bit finicky, especially with talent domains, but there is a higher level cost and a higher end goal. This is 60, HSR was 80. They continuously reduce the amount of max levels for characters, which makes it very difficult to get a feel for the character you want prior to actually investing into. If you get a character to 40 or to 50, they're basically at 80 out of 80 in Genshin, and that means they're almost at max level, which doesn't exactly give you an easier time of differentiating, especially as you get later on into the game. You don't really have that chance to differentiate who's your favorite character. Yeah, at level 60, but hypothetically, let's say you're like unsure or iffy on someone like Soldier 11. Realistically speaking, you're not going to see the full potential of Soldier 11 until you maybe get that E trait, which requires 55. And even then, if they're so inherently tied down to the core passive here, you kind of want to get this as high as you are willing to go, and that's usually D or E, which is requiring a very high investment, level 45 or level 55. And that's a little bit unreasonable in my opinion, but that's just me. Now, at the end of the day, I am an individual who believes if you simp for a character, no matter who they are, whether it is the ones we personally have, and whether it's somebody in HSR or Genshin, max invests into them. But I believe that ZZ is honestly the most unbalanced in terms of the amount of investment required, considering Denny's are so inherently tied down to everything you do in this game, and they are the worst map to farm within all HoYoverse games. If I'm speaking from this point of, let me invest into my Nekomata here, 200,000 Denny is about the equivalent to, at minimum, one specific 100 run of the Denny-based farming route, which is fine on paper, because you technically speaking get more than that. But I think the downside of this system is, in Genshin, you have other things to do. You have other ways to farm. In HSR, you are so heavily flooded with credits, with materials, whether that be for a character XP or weapon experience, that you don't really have to worry about it, and your main thing is farming out the traces. This just has the issues of that because you have multiple trees you need to level. Well, your basic attack effects, your basics, your autos. Your ultimate is also your chain attack. Your skill is your skill. This is your quick assist in the event that a character is getting beaten up and you need to slide in for them, basically. And this is your parry. And so you want to invest into all of these because you're dodging, you're parrying, you're using their skill, and so the credit cost goes higher and higher and higher. But for some reason, they brought the amount of credits you get from farming lower and lower and lower. The damage difference isn't worth it. And yes, it's always basically a big excuse for me to sit here and say, I like Nekomata. You should build Nekomata. She's incredibly cute, and her weapon is very good. Also, this cinema art is great. But Shinji is really putting in the work, and so is Lucy. If I could, I would set my path towards her and get multiple copies, but I can't, so I'm going to rely on 50/50s. Either way, invest into who you like. There is such a long time period within this game where you don't need as many characters, and given this small orientation of the roster, you kind of have that ability and flexibility to look at things from the perspective of, do I like X character? Because the damage difference isn't high enough for you to justify and say you're missing out on so much by refusing to level. You can leave characters at a 50 out of 50, but if you like them, push them further. Tell me your thoughts down below, what you'll be doing, and I'll see you next time in an actual informative video.